Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Tonight, welcome to the first official reading wrap-up of 2026. It is currently February 1st while I'm filming this, so we are officially done with January. Look at serial because I feel like January is usually like the month where you're so you're so busy from after Halloween to New Year's, you're like slam packed with plans or whatever, you're busy with holidays and stuff, and then right after New Year's, January is like the slowest because it's and I feel like that January goes so slow, and February goes so fast 'cause it's so short. It was just because my reading goal for 2026 is to read 100 books this year, which I would say that's only 2 more than I read last year. So reading 8, because so I read 8 books this month. I will say, I think I said this, I don't know, the past couple weeks I have been experiencing, I don't know if it's burnout, I don't know, I've been telling myself because I get this thing where whenever Christmas happens, and because my birthday and Christmas are 2 months, like a month apart. I'm reading November when Christmas is like a month, and I have all these new books, and I want to read them all at once or whatever. And I usually do, I usually read them pretty quickly, and eventually over time, I will just I will be depressed if. So I was trying to hold myself accountable to where I read all of those. And I will say, last year was the first official year. I think I started in freshman year of high school. I was, continually getting books from the library. But she made this big order of all these new books, and when she was getting ready to process them, she let kids put their names on them, like names that whatever she was still processing on it, getting ready to go out, you could get them first. So I put my name on 6. And I've technically read 3, I think, 4 of them so far. And I'm currently reading. I technically have one I asked, so those, I'm trying to save those because I feel but I feel like I'm making reading feel like a chore and a privilege than a luxury thing. I feel like I'm making it as a chore because I'm not reading the things I want to read. It's I know it's February, and this month has to save me because the next book in this regular Storm series was that's a 6-star series for me, and then uh In Game by Riley Page comes out February 12th. So those two are not 5 stars, they're 6 stars for me. I don't know what I'm gonna do because the next month I have Haley Pham's new book, well her first book. I think LCD's new book comes out. I think Lynn Starford's new book comes out that month. So I have so many releases that I want to read. I'm like, oh, you know, so I'm just you know, but I think this month I read a wide different, I'm proud, well, but yeah, so, we're gonna always I'm gonna start out the video with monthly stats. So, I read 8 books this month. I read 3,097 pages. One of those was an audiobook, 7 physical, and then I had, technically I read all my library books physically. I don't have many books, of course I've returned them. So I read 4 physical, so whenever I'm talking about a library book, I'll tell you it's a library book, but four from the library. There were 4 romances, 2 romance, and 3 mystery and thrillers. Which I will say this was a good, but we had I think our lowest was a DNF, and the highest was a 4.5. So that's good, you know. But yeah, so the first book I started, the first book I finished in 2026, which I will say this book I started reading this author years ago, and I would say in probably the beginning of 2025, maybe even 2024. I think beginning of 2025, I realized that like her things, all her works was like getting competitive. Like I wasn't loving what she was reading 'cause I read her most popular, whatever. So I stopped reading her. Well, when I decided I wanted to read more from my school library, she has all of Colin Hoover's books. This is a Colin Hoover book. I'll say that. And so I've been slowly reading her backlog. You know, I've read the Slam series. I've read Heartbones. I think I've read Heartbones. I've read a couple of hers. So originally I tried to pick this up. I really picked this up in December, and I think like almost halfway through, and I don't think I was paying the best attention to it, and I wasn't loving it as much as I wanted to. So so I decided to listen to the audiobook, which I will say. So this is about Merritt, who basically her family is very weird. I'll just say, like I remember reading it and like, what? And I feel like I think I've said this before with that. I feel like Holly Hoover, what she does is, and I really want to read her new book that she just came out with. I think it's like her last book since she wrote Rarity, which I never read Rarity in real life, so this has to be, whatever. And basically, all I gotta say is that like whenever Holly Hoover gets an idea, like a small reason why the two characters can't be together, she will make it happen. And I remember reading this book and was like, this is like one of the weirdest books I think I've ever read in my life because of I feel like I can't tell you why, but like I feel like I can't spoil it. But let me look at this enough to see what I can tell you because I think it's slowly coming back to me because it feels like I haven't read this book in weeks. But it's just like it was just like I finished this I think pretty early on in January, so I was like, yeah, what's good be? Let me just do this not just to you. Not every mistake deserves a consequence. Sometimes the only thing it deserves is forgiveness. The Voss family is anything but normal. They live in a repurposed church. Newly baptized daughter Voss, the once cancer-stricken mother, lives in the basement. The father is married to the mother's father nurse. The Yule have brothers ain't allowed to do or eat anything fun. And the oldest siblings are irritating perfect. Theo, there's Merritt. Merritt Voss is collects trophies she hasn't earned, and secrets her family forces her to keep. While browsing the local antique store, while browsing the yeah, while browsing the local antique shop for her next trophy, she finds Sage. His wit and unapologetic sarcasm sparks her news into her. Until she discovers that he's completely unavailable. Merritt retreats deeper into herself, watching her family from the sidelines when she's in that no trophy. Like, I don't know, I feel like I'm not giving this 2.75, but this book was so weird in a way that, like, I don't know, because I'm a Christian, like, I follow that religion. So, there's a whole, like, I don't know, I feel like I can't tell you why they, like, there's a reason why. and then she thinks it's one thing why they keep it together, and then over throughout the book, you find out actually no, it's you know, I feel like there was no happy ending because I would say Merritt felt very closed off and she was very real. Like she stopped doing a lot. Like I was like, and there was things that she would do, and I would be like, what? Like what? This is like the weirdest book. This is the weirdest comic book I've read since then. Like I don't know. I didn't love it. I gave it like it took me 2 tries to read, and I'm like, but yeah, I gave it a 2.5. It was good, but it was weird, and I don't know. I don't know. It was just it was definitely a roller coaster. I'll just say that it was a roller coaster. And I feel like I was just looking at other reviews, and everyone gave it like 4, 5. I was like, oh my god. Okay. So the next book I read in the month of January, I read really. So this is her most recent release from last year. This is like her release from last year. And I've read one book by her, which I gave that I think 4.5. And I remember I originally tried to pick this up last year, right after it came out, when I was doing my new releases 48-hour readathon. And I think I read, I don't know, I don't think I was paying, because basically, so that book is Sounds Like Love by Ashley Poston. This is like her new release, like I said. This is from last year. And basically, Ashley Poston puts magical realism in her books. Like, there's one, which is what I read, which is the 7-Year Slip. Like, there's like, like there's a ghost, like not a ghost, but like basically someone from 7 years in the past, maybe 2 years in the future. I mean, there's one that is the favorite character is stuck in her favorite fictional romance fictional town. I mean, I think so this one is basically about a songwriter, Joni Laurie, and she basically like she's a songwriter, and basically she returns to Venus Shores, North Carolina, because let me read this. Let me read this synopsis to you. Joni Lark has a secret. She's one of the most courageous songwriters in Los Angeles, and yet she can't write. There's an emptiness inside her, and nothing seems to fit. When she returns to her hometown of Venus Shores, North Carolina, she hopes that the sand, the turf, the content of the refinery for the family music venue will spark inspiration. But when Jody gets there, nothing is how she left it. Her best friend is hiding something, her murdered memories are fading fast, and the library is closing. How can Jody write when her world is leaving her behind? And when she hears a melody in her head, lyrics less and half-formed, addictive voice to go with it, belonging to a parent to deliver is of his own. Surely he's a fragment of Jody's overlooked imagination. But there's a rumor shows up in vision. He's arrogant and guarded, and not. So basically, she hears. So basically, she hears this guy's thoughts. Basically, I don't know how to explain it. It's weird. I remember when I read this. I remember when I first read the first scene. Because I was a little confused because I didn't make it to we found out who that guy was. Because we get a scene, we get the first couple times is where you meet the guy, which she doesn't even know, like, this is going to be like, and I don't know. I will say, I gave, I think, 70% 4.5, and I gave this 4.25. And I will say, they never got there. Like, yes, because there's something that happens between them in the first couple chapters, and they're not even their thoughts yet, and then over time, this starts happening, and then they end up, like, and I don't know, I just felt like we didn't really see them get together, like, you got to see them say, oh, I want something more than just friends, but, like, that was it. I never got to see them say I love you, or like, because he's a pop, I enjoyed it, of course I did. I enjoyed it more than I did the last time. I'll say that. And I was like, I was getting the feelings that I wanted to get from it. And I don't know, I think I was just disappointed because I wanted to see them get together. And it was a lot of emotion and a lot of a lot of emotions because she's dealing with her mom has memory loss, like dementia. And then they're closing her family's fraternity, like where you could have there's a lot of emotion in this book. And I'll say that was good. I just didn't, you know, I don't know. It was good. I gave it 4.2. This is good. I would say I forgot I liked. I don't know. I feel like I would say I liked them the same as I did. Then I don't know. The next book I read was okay. So next book I read is from an author that I am not a mystery filler girly. Like I have read, I think in total I read five, four out of the 98 books I read last year. I think I read 4 or 5 filler books last year, and which that was the Housemaid series. I read the Housemaid's Secret, the Housemaid's Wedding, and the Housemaid's Watching. I read all that. I read The Tenant by her. I've read uh what else did I read? I think that was it. I think I read 4. I can't remember. You know, so I miss my library hat because I read this book from my library, so I don't have to copy anymore. But I read this. I remember I picked this up because I saw because I don't you can't judge my opinion when it comes to thrillers because I don't read them often. So you know you can't really trust my judgment because a plot choice can get me so far where it's so in the beginning, this is the boyfriend by Freddie McFadden. This is her release I think from 2024 I think, and basically this is I'm reading the first chapter because I feel like when you read synopsis like what happens, I feel like you don't really get to what the synopsis talks about until you're 100 pages in or 50 pages in. Because it starts out with something completely different. Well, it involves the situation, but it does, it involves that spectrum. And I will say, because we got present and past timelines, and I will say, this book definitely got me. I remember reading this and thinking, oh my god, I remember reading, I was I think I read this, let's see. Okay, I guess, let me just read this synopsis. She's looking for the perfect man. He's looking for the perfect victim. Shelby Shaw is like every single woman in New York. Has terrible luck with dating. She's seen it all. Men who lie in their dating profile, men who stick out with a dinner bill, and most of all, men who can't shut up about their mothers. But finally, she hits the jackpot. Her new boyfriend is utterly perfect. He's charming, handsome, and works as a doctor at a local hospital. Sydney is swept off her feet. Then the brutal murder of a young woman, the latest in strings of deaths across the coast, confront police. The primary suspect, primary suspect, a mystery man who dates his victims before he kills them. Should feel safe, as that she's dating the guy of her dreams, but she can't shake off her own suspicion. Her perfect man may not be as perfect as he seems, because someone is watching her every move. And if she can't get the truth, she'll be the killer's next victim. And I started reading this, and because you get a present timeline of I remember the first chapters in. I don't know. I thought I can't tell you because what I know was a spoiler to the whole book. I will say who we found out who the murderer is, and it's from I've never read the last book that I gave the housemaid 4.5. I gave the housemaid is watching the housemaid's secret 4.25. I gave the housemaid's watch. I gave this all I think I gave the housemaid's watching 3.5, and then I gave the tenant 3 or 3.75 or something like that. So, and she had a new book called Dear Debbie, which I decided to read. I might read on the next. This time I might read the next book. Guys, I'm in the middle of 7 books right now. I know. There's 3 books actually that I have read 2 pages of, and I've said that I'm totally in the middle of, and there's one that I'm So I will say this book was definitely the thriller that I needed. This was a fast-paced, thrillery. It definitely got me on my toes. My toes. It got me wanting to see what happened next. Wanting me to flip the page. So yeah, I get that 4.5. That was good. Okay. Next book. I tell you didn't finish. So this is my first DNF of 2026. This is by the same author that I read earlier this month. Oh, good gravy. This is Too Late by Colin Hoover. I remember because this is a new book that my school library had this year, so I read this to my school library. And I remember reading the back because I'm not really that reads the back, but I read the back for some reason. I don't know why I read the back because that already made me upset because I didn't basically. I feel my character. I think his name is. What was her name? Well, I know one of them. Sloane. She basically. Let me just read this synopsis to you. No. Some will go through hell and back for those she loves, and she does. So every single day, caught up with the eluding Asa Jack, uh, yeah, Asa Jackson, a notorious drug trafficker. Sloan has finally found a lifeline to cling to. Even if it meant compromising her morals, she was even ugh, she was in dire straits trying to pay for her brother's care until she met Asa. But as Sloan becomes emotionally and locally relevant to him, he is developed a certain obsession with her. One that becomes strangely dangerous every single day. What undercover DEA agent Carter enters the picture. Sloan surprised to feel an immediate interaction between them. Despite knowing that if he finds out, he will kill him. Asa has always been a step ahead of everyone in his life, including Sloane's. No one has ever gotten in his way, only a step harder. Together, Sloane must find a way out before it's too late. Okay, let me just set the scene. So, I'm reading this, and I guess this book annoyed me so bad. Like, because who she belongs with. Like, you know who she needs to be with. Because if you read this book, you know what I'm talking about. Because basically it starts out, and I don't like people that have done bad things and do bad. So when I read the back and knew he was a drug trafficker, I was like, oh my god, what? And we're reading this, and the Asa just annoyed me so hard, annoyed me so bad, and I feel like Sloane was so vulnerable because she was doing what she had to do to pay to you know. And then there's something that happens that makes her like she's at she had when something happens and you know the it wasn't Sloane who annoyed me, it was Asa. And it was the small things, and I don't even know, I dislike this book with a passion. And because I think what really got me, I made it 300 pages through this book, and technically she she was getting her life back. Like she was something happened. I'm trying to be vague so I don't spoil it, but she's made it out. You know, of the situation, and she's in a better situation, and there's something that happens that involves Asa, and she goes back with it, and that annoyed me so bad because it's just the stuff he would do. Because basically, I knew a drug trafficker was bad until I read this book, and I was like, what? Like basically, has parties every night, and basically sells, you know, I don't know, I'm trying to be vague, and I'm like, oh my god, this just gives me the heebie-jeebies thinking about it. And I'm like, oh my god, what? And I was saying, I was not liking it at the beginning, and then at the ending, the middle, I was like, okay, this is actually kind of I told myself I was going to be able to finish this book. And then, when that climax happened with, she went back with Asa, I said that I can't do that anymore. Because I don't DNF books often, like if usually it's a soft DNF vibes DNF book, and I was picking it up again. But this book, oh good gravy! I don't think I want to see this book a day in my life. Cause I read it in a library book, and I was like, oh my god, what? So yeah, this is a 1-star DNF. This is all. I was like, oh my god. Next book I read was Heartless by Marissa Meyer. This is a standalone fantasy, I would say. And I will say she has wrote, I think, the Renegade trilogy. She's read the Radio Chronicles. Let's see. She's read the Political Chronicles, if I said that right. And then she's read the Renegades trilogy too. This is like her. Hey guys, so I'm taking a break. I had to go. My camera's already died, and I had to go. And then this is why although I don't like the phone ban for schools, like I actually kind of like it because for 7 hours from at least 7:05 to 3:15, I'm not on my phone because because technically I have to stay normally until 4:30 at the earliest because my dad is the middle school's baseball coach, and my stepmom works after school and tutors during the week. So we're basically all busy. And then tomorrow, my dad has practice, but I get to go home early because my older brother has his tournament game for basketball. If we do well, which we haven't done so well this season, so we'll see if that happens. If we do well tomorrow, we'll play again Friday. I can't remember what day. I think we play Friday. We play one day. We play one day next week after. One day after tomorrow. What do I think? At least it's not because his games have been at her at 6 to 6:25. Maybe even 7 one time. I don't know. I think it's always been 6, but this game is 5:30. So technically, I get to be home at like 6 something instead of like 7 something because I go to bed at like 8:45 to be awake by 5, which I'm already now looking forward to like knowing I have to go at 8:45 tonight and wake up at like 5 tomorrow for school. Like I'm like cutting down the days until summer break. Like not even summer break. I'm cutting it until spring break, which I will tell you we do get parent report day off, which the teachers still have to go in. So I'll be somewhere. I don't know, cause my parents are both teachers, and then I think we have like a work day or something a couple days after that or whatever. So at least we have those, but like straight from that, like there's nothing until spring break. Which I'll even have a busy spring break because I'm going to see my sisters the 25th to 27th, and then my brother has a baseball tournament the 28th. So that's Saturday. The day we get back, the day after he has baseball tournament, which he has tryouts this week too, and I'm just like, oh, good gravy. I think he has tryouts for spring ball Tuesday or Wednesday. I think it's Tuesday. I can't remember. But yeah, so I think I was talking about Heartless. I think, yeah. So this is like a fantasy. Basically, I don't know. I know when I picked this up, I read the first chapter. I will say this is a good, fast. I always am so intimidated that like these books are going to be like very like I feel like a fantasy book is like gonna be hard to like read or like it's gonna be hard to understand like it's gonna have a lot of world building and that's why I kind of I don't know like I don't know I'm just like I don't know but yeah so basically I don't know what I was trying to say there who knows let me look this up so I can tell you. So let me just read this synopsis to you. Long before the terror of the Wonderland, the fierce Queen of Hearts, she was just a girl who wanted to fall in love. Catherine may be the one, the most desired girls in Wonderland, and the favorite of the unmarried King of Hearts. But her interest is elsewhere. A talented baker, all she wants is to open a shop with her best friend. But according to her mother, such a goal is unthinkable for the young woman, who should be the next queen. Then Kath meets Jess. The For the first time, she felt the pull of true attraction. At the visit of the offering king of her parents, she and Jess enter into a secret courtship. Kath is determined to find her own destiny and fall in love on her terms. But the land-frauding romantic Magnus, a lone teen novel, you know. So yeah, I think I ended up giving this 4, and I will say, like I said, I ended up giving this 4, and I think I didn't read the synopsis. I kind of just went in with like I do with every single book I read, went into it blind, And I think I would have liked it better if I would have read it stuff, because I would have, because I feel like this is not really fantasy. I don't know what to consider, because I feel like there was, yes, of course, it's in a Wonderland, of course, there's a king and queen. I feel like besides that, there's not really any fantasy. Like, it's about a character who she's trying to, like, I feel like she's trying to make a name for herself. Like, she's trying to become, she was a baker, she loves to bake, and she's trying to make her own bake, trying to open her own bakery without baking with her best friend. And her parents and her mom think that's too loud and too big or whatever. And, she meets Jess. I don't know how to say. I think it's Jet, because Jest, but I don't know how to say that, so I'm just saying Jet. As said, there's no, just, just, I don't know. She meets him, and I feel like she goes back and forth, and it never gets forward. This is like a quick. I feel like I read this. I think I read this in 5 days. I think maybe even 4. So I read like 100 pages like almost every single day. And then there was like, I think the day I finished, I read 200. I think I think I was on page like 200 something. And I finished it on like, you know, and I really enjoyed it. I will say that. For fantasy, it was quick, fast, good. It was a good book, But yeah, so I got 4. Next book I read, I feel like I'm kind of branching out because this is my second thriller book of the month, which is The Perfect Sun by Freeman McFadden, which this book seems like I can't remember when because I looked at the release date of this, like I looked at when this was, it was 2024. I was like, oh my god, I didn't even know she came out with, I don't know, because I only read, whatever. Basically, it's about, but basically in this mom's point of view, and basically she has a son who, I would say, this book left me with so many unanswered, well, okay, let me just say this. Basically, it's about it's about a mom whose son named Liam is basically accused of murdering someone, and I think there's an old history of stuff happening, and basically there's something happens that was a girl that he meets, and like he's like, I think in like a junior or sophomore high school, and basically a girl that he's like associated with goes missing, and everyone thinks it's Liam. Which I remember reading the chapters we get like an insight of where she, and I remember reading this, and those gave me the heebie-jeebies when I was reading those chapters. Like, oh my god, you basically see her like surviving, like basically surviving without any food or water, and basically she's like, I think I'm spoiling this. I'm trying to say anything really like in depth, but like we get like, I don't know how to explain it. But I feel like they made the murderer so innocent. Not innocent. Like the killer the one that kidnapped her basically. They made him so oblivious. To be the word, I don't know. He was just, of course, he was alongside the whole thing, but like, I don't know how to explain. He just seemed very not nonchalant about the situation. Which I think why is because you know, he didn't kill, but he almost got to that point. Almost. He was close. Luckily they found her. But, yeah, so I gave this 4. I don't know. I just didn't get what I did with the boyfriend. Like, I wasn't, wanting to know. Like, of course I was wanting to know what was going on, but, like, it wasn't as, fast-paced and foolish. Not foolish. Of course it was foolish. But like, I don't know. It was good. It was okay. Like it was good. But I will say, I don't know if Freeman fantasy because there's things that happened that has happened in the past with Liam, and I feel like the Freeman fan was trying to make the reader feel like he could be the murderer, like could be the person, and then later on figure out who's like in the end who the murderer was. After the movie, she was trying to make us expect it was Liam and not who it was. But so yeah, it was good. I gave it 4 stars. It was, you know, so yeah. And then the next book I read was actually, technically this book is 2 novellas, but it's combined them into like 200 and something. And that is Grim and Oro, Grim, no, Grim and Oro by Alex Esther. This is basically, if you guys have never heard of the Lightlock series, the Lightlock saga, basically, first book is Lightlock, second book is Nightbang, and the third book is Skyshade, and then this came out in September, I think, September, October, and then she had the next book, the fourth book in the series, Crown Tide, come out in December. And basically, this is in our two. If you guys know, this whole series is a love triangle, and basically we get the two voices point of views in this book. We have Oro's point of view and Grimm's, and I will say, I feel like she was making it out like everyone's gonna change their mind on who their team was. And now just thinking about it, I feel like I'm both because you get to see. Because I feel like yes, you got to see the both backstories, but like I feel like you got to see more of their romance with Isla, who's a villain the character in the original series, like the series, you know. But I gave this 4 actually. And I feel like we did get background. We did get the reason the what it was good. Wasn't my I don't know. I can't decide if I liked them better. Like, because even with each book, with each, I remember finishing because I read Oro first, his movie first. 'Cause that's what I heard that was best. And then be like, oh, actually really enjoying it, thinking, oh, she's gonna end up with him, and then reading Grimm's point of view and be like, oh, she's gonna end up with him. Who is she gonna end up with? Because I think someone has to die next book. I think. I think she's made it out. It's a scene that I think someone's gonna die. I don't know. Yeah, so I get a 4.4. This is good. It was good. It was So yeah, it kept me entertained. It was a quick, fast for I mean, the last book I read this month was The Wrong Comers by Catherine Center. This is my first ever book by her. I know Harry Fan loves this author. I feel like everyone who has read this author really likes her. So I really picked this up because this is their 2025 release. And I remember picking this up the first time. And there's a female character, Emma, I think her name is Emma. Yeah, Emma, who's a songwriter, a screenwriter, and basically she's trying to get her big screenplay, whatever. Well, she's actually her dad's sole caregiver, and she ends up getting this big part of rewriting the screenplay for the screenwriter Charlie Yeats. And I remember when I started this, because I really started this earlier last year, and I soft DNF'd it, because there's the reason that she gets this decision is because of someone, not because of someone. The person that tells her that she has this, he seemed very go with the flow. I remember when I first read it, I'm thinking, oh my god, this is I was thinking this is a love interest, and be like, oh my god, he seemed very, because especially her high school boyfriend, and basically he gives her all of these jobs or whatever, and he gives her this job, and he ends up, like, seeing her go to full, and I will say, I don't know, our film and character felt very, I feel like I should have had our male main character's POV too, because I feel like if we were to see what he was going through his head and like how he felt, because this felt very one-sided, because I feel like she was so, like, she basically, I feel like I'm the person that I'm the person that loves he falls first, but she falls first, but he falls harder. Like, I love that trope, and I feel like it was she falls first, of course, and I feel like she was very pushy about things, and I felt not very pushy, but it was like she was trying her best to get him to do not certain stuff, but like, want him to, I don't know how to explain this, but like, I didn't feel like her love conviction was very pushy, and like, he denied it, and then I was like, oh, there was parts like, I was like, some parts I loved, some parts I didn't love, some parts like, I was like, and I was like, what could this write? And I remember reading the ending, and a lot of people get saved it because it's a 3.7. I was like, oh my god, like I think it was gonna be a 3 to 3.25 if the ending didn't happen. If the ending wasn't the way it was, I think this would have been like a 3 star. But luckily, it was a luckily ending happened the way it ended, because I don't think I would have loved it. Not as loved it, but like, what am I trying to say? Would have liked it as much as I liked it. So yeah. So those were all the books that I read in January of 2026. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye!